Shalom and greetings from Jerusalem. My name is Joan Lippis, or hashtag Joni in Jerusalem, welcoming you to Lunchtime Prayer for Israel, which is part of the Novea Ministries dedicated to filling the earth with the knowledge of God's glory. And I do hope you subscribe to these YouTube channels and go check out our website, novea.org. And we're still in our series, End Times, and we're adding the category, God's unique relationship with Israel. Interestingly, our title today is Jerusalem and Babylon. One of Charles Dickens' greatest classics is A Tale of Two Cities. And you know, this could be a subtitle for our Bible, for indeed, the foundation of the Bible is a tale of two cities, Jerusalem and Babylon. Of course, we cannot forget a third category where we have Israel versus the nations, the Gentile nations. Israel is unique among the nations of the world because it is the one nation with whom God has a unique relationship. Why do I say that? Because that is the nation God chose to put his name on. God chose to put his name on Israel and calls her capital, Jerusalem, his holy city. Now, when we talk about Israel, we're saying at the same time, Israel is a land with borders and boundaries determined by God. Number two, it is a people group. And what is our definition of Jews? Well, they are the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, unified by a culture, a calendar, prayers, traditions, and rituals. Third, it's a nation. Regardless of where Jews live, in God's eyes, they are part of the nation of Israel, listen to me, which begun with the Exodus from Egypt. Thus, they share, wherever the Jews live, they share an ancient, modern, and future history. And so we're going to Deuteronomy 7, verses 6 through 8, where Moses is speaking to Israel. For you are a holy people to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you to be a people for himself, a people for himself, a special treasure above all the peoples on the face of the earth. The Lord did not set his love on you, nor choose you because you were more in number than any other people, for you were the least of all peoples. But because the Lord loves you, and because he would keep the oath which he swore to your fathers. The Lord brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you from the house of bondage, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Now, friends, the nations, as I said before, when we're talking biblically, are non-Jews. They're Gentiles. And generally, a nation is considered a stable community having common language, territory, history, ethnicity, and culture. But look around, because there is nothing to keep a nation unified as with Israel. For the past century, stabilities of nations are becoming rare. That's why we constantly see borders change and new countries coming up all the time. Now, let's go back to Babylon. Babylon is singled out from all the Gentile nations and symbolizes the place of false religion, wickedness, and sin. And that's why I'm asking you today to pray for your church to recognize God's unique relationship with Israel and correct any replacement theology. Now, obvious caveat, we have been talking about nations with a unique relationship to God. There is no other nation like Israel. But with faith in Messiah Yeshua, God has a unique relationship with people individually. But I'm getting way ahead of myself. But for those of you who are listening to this for the first time, you may not understand. You may not understand and say, what is this thing with Israel? It is so important to understand that while God has a unique relationship with the Jewish people as a nation, he still looks at people individually, and he does not consider a man, woman, Jew, or Gentile above or better than each other. Doesn't work that way. Hope that makes you feel better. So with that, I will say, Lehitraot, Shalom from Jerusalem.